Hey, everybody. If you're on, go ahead and leave me a comment so I know that you're here and who you are. But I have one of my spiritual mentors coming on who I absolutely love. And I'm so excited to introduce you guys to her. Hey, Kayla. Nice to see you. It's not necessarily easy to find a mentor or a spiritual coach that you can talk to. And who's good, right? Because there's a lot of people out there. Some are scammers, some just aren't that good, right? And then I've been blessed after I got like one bad person, but I knew they were bad as soon as they were talking. I was like, you're full of right? After, outside of that, like when I called it, I've been blessed to get pretty good mentors. But what happens is that you get people at different stages of your journey. So the people I started up with are not the people I'm ending up with, right? So as my skills developed, there was a point in which I outgrew them. So I'm very physical and active with my spiritual practice. So I'm not all in my head. Like I'm acting, I'm manifesting, I'm healing. Like it's a very physical thing. And so when you do it like that, you just outgrow people quickly. So I've always wanted to do this because I know some of you guys are out there, you do everything on your own, but I'm like, why not get help? Right. So, I'm always about like apprenticeship. I'm always about internship. I'm always about working with a mentor. I am a coach. I work with coaches. Like that is the gift that keeps on giving. And so I am pretty excited that she is coming on. So let me see. And this is going to be a little short, but I am going to have her on again. This is just an introduction that I'm excited about. All right, so she's here. Hey Sabrina. Nice to finally meet you.
Yes, in video. We talk a lot.
So when I generally have met Sabrina, I've never seen her face. It might sound weird, but she prefers to stay in sort of the zone, not see anything. That's pretty accurate. And so that nothing gets influenced by look or feel. It's all by clairsentience. It's all by energy feeling. So this is the first. Yes, Jordan, say hello. They said hi, Sabrina. I don't know if you can see the comments. Oh, let me show them to you. Hello, Jordan. Nice to see you. Hi, Judy. Hey, Sabrina. Jordy said, yes, she is legit. And let me tell you guys, y'all know I'm really confident. You guys know I don't play. I am what I am. I claim it. I'm not acting and pretending to be me. But when I say Sabrina has been the best coach and mentor I have ever had, I don't say that lightly. And I say that because it released a lot of frustration where I was trying to go higher in my abilities and gifts. But everyone I was with, I was sort of pushing them because they couldn't give me that next level. And so I sort of manifested her like low key. Like I didn't do like a manifestation or magical ritual or anything like that. But I was like, listen, spirit, I need someone. I need to get better at clairvoyance. I need to get better at this. I need to get better at that. And I randomly met Sabrina when we were in a practice session. I joined a clairvoyance school, the International School of Clairvoyance. I recommend it. It's 15 weeks. It's like 3 hours a session each week, and you're going deep into manifesting clairvoyance. And she does everything else. She does remote viewing. She does clairvoyance. She does everything, right? And they have practice sessions where you can go. You don't know these people. You can't see them, but like they're there. You connect with their energy, and you try to read what you can. And I met Sabrina, and she was reading things she had no business reading. So I was like, how'd you know that? She's like, Lisa, you're bent over a little. Remember, there's no video on. I was like, oh, yeah. She's like, stand up. I'm like, okay. I was like, how'd she know that? And then we kept going. And I found out she, in fact, was very well connected. So I wanted to introduce you. I want to ask her a few questions about her path and journey and post her information at the end. I'm not saying this like outside of like just pure joy and love to finally find somebody. I'm going to say this in my way that I respected all my mentors, and I'll give you their names if you want to follow up. But like at the stage that I'm at in the journey in my practice and my development, like to find Sabrina was just really nice. And it's sort of like we're going together. So I think she's with me and I'm doing stuff. She's like, oh, you can do that? Like, yeah, right. But she helps facilitate that. We keep going deeper and deeper. And I'm at the stage where I no longer my guides have been very clear. You don't need to do all this other stuff outside of yourself. You need to just do it on your own. And so right now we're in the, I'm learning an entirely new skill set, which is sort of hard because you want to go back to like, well, I know if I just burn a candle, this is going to happen, to like, you don't need all those elemental beings. They did work, but you're at a next stage. And I'm learning a lot of new things and a lot of sacred and ancient knowledge that just isn't around here. And it's coming directly from your higher self, directly from the spirit. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'll release as we go along. So, and let me just see, Kayla says, I'm happy for you. It's hard to find a legit mentor in any field, spiritual, business. Yes, yeah. You should always put some intentionality to go like higher self, make sure I get attracted to the right person. Judy said, that's nice. I don't have to say that. So that is saying a lot. I know you're a hard nut to crack, Judy, but yes. So I don't say this lightly. I have been doing this for years, and this is the first person I introduced, but I'm very happy. So Sabrina, I just wanted them to understand who and why I was so excited. But yes, I want to ask you, like, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. It's fun.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I'm curious, and I think that I'm out there, if you don't mind sharing, like, what was the big awakening? Were you born with this? Were you like a little 5-year-old kid who could see spirits? Or was it something that you just grew into and decided to practice?
I definitely came into it later in life. But when I was a kid, I had a lot of strange experiences that I couldn't explain. Like I definitely felt things in the room, and it was terrifying, to the point where I couldn't leave my bed. And I think I shut it down at that point. It was too many things going on. So in my 20s, I started getting back into the realm. I was really interested in psychics. And so I loved seeing every psychic possible. It was really, I loved just learning about myself and learning what's possible. I can talk a bit more about what else I get from it later. But when I would see them, they'd often say, you're really intuitive. You could do what I'm doing. And that's hard to hear, because if you're in the regular life and you feel like these people are doing something magical, it's hard to believe that you could do it too. But now, having studied so much, I truly believe everyone can do that. And that's kind of what I love working with you on. I don't want to give you the answers. I'm teaching you how to get it yourself. And that's where I'm coming. I want people to be empowered, stop seeking outside for answers and guidance. Like we came into this earth with all of the answers inside us. It's in our DNA, and we just need to unlock it and let it out.
Okay, so Sabrina Ganymeade, right? That's what I did I pronounce it right?
Yeah. It's a name I go by online. It's just 13th moon of Jupiter.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? Do you guys hear that? Someone asked for your email. Okay, the integration tab, right, is her website address. Y'all, I'm telling you. I mean, we'll get to it at the end about what we're working on. But we're working on it because she's so tuned in. We have that clarity. So later in life, and you're working and you saw all these people and you're like, and they're like, you can do it too. And then you decided to start studying. And tell me about like that ramp up in studying, because everyone out here has gifts that are natural. I didn't necessarily have I was clairsentient. I could feel energy and I could read energy. So when I was around these people who were doing what I think was magic, I was like, oh, I can feel it. It's real. Okay, this is real. An angel is right here. She's all over here. And so that sparked, so being able to read energy sparked me. Well, I can heal. Oh, they said I'm a healer. Well, what does that mean? Mm-hmm. But what was it for you to go from the ramp up from, okay, you're telling me I can do it. Where'd you start?
Okay, I started 10 years ago. I studied under a psychic who's no longer practicing, and she had a different psychic school. And the reason I stopped is because I think she was working with energies that she didn't fully understand. And that's something you have to be careful of in this whole sphere. There's a lot of trickster energies.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons I avoid working with guides a lot, because any entity can say they're your guide, unless you know exactly the tone of them and you know what they're going to be like. It's very easy for another entity to say, I'm your guide, Lisa, and you should do this, right? Mm-hmm. So right now I'm only looking
at energy that you found unsettling.
With this specific teacher? When
Yeah,
she was working?
I'm just curious, like what you picked up, even though she was comfortable, you were not. Like, I'm curious what you picked up that made you go, I don't like this.
A lot. Well, at the time it was fresh, so I didn't know right from wrong. But now, years later, I know better. So one thing she would ask us to do is sit in a dark room, and one person would sit against a wall, and we'd watch their faces change. So she was calling in spirits and overlaying them on top of faces.
Oh,
Faces would morph. And 10 years ago, I'm like, that's really cool. And she's like, yeah, spirits are always coming in and out of our bodies. I'm like, okay. And now I'm like, nope, I don't want it.
Never.
Yeah. Yeah. So
like, never. I don't know who those fools are.
Exactly.
When I said fools, I mean spirits. Because right now I'm having to be very strict about my guidelines and not letting them in. So wow.
It was starting to, like, she was very accurate. She was very well known, but she was starting to tell me things that weren't true. Like one example is she said, you're going to get into midwifery school, which is something I really wanted to do. And I didn't get in. And then so there's so many paths that she directed me on that were not true. And then when I would question her, she'd say, well, you really didn't want it. And I'm like, that's not true. I really did want it. And you're kind of turning it on me instead of owning that you were not accurate.
Lesson for people. Lesson, because not every mentor is the best mentor for you. And I highly encourage mentorship, but and getting a coach, especially we're spiritual beings. You need a spiritual coach, unless you do it all on your own. But that's the hard way. Don't do it the hard way. And you have to be paying attention to those signs when they're not right. And I just wanted to tell this story. When I go to a mentor for the first time, I don't tell them anything. I'll just tell them love life and see what they pick up. If they pick up all sorts of weird stuff, then I know not for me. But if they're really calling it, yeah, you just got out of this relationship. He was like this type of person and you're not. And so what caused the clash is this. So how are they supposed to know that? So for everyone you guys start with, oh, hey, hi, O10. You guys, I recommend like you get one, but like I recommend that first meeting, like don't give up too much information and see if they're really reading you and your situation without explaining it all. So, and Sabrina's talking about like, yeah, like it just was wrong. Like, and you have trust, but then there is some level in which your own discernment starting to come out. And it's like, ugh, okay, I'm new, but something doesn't feel right. And you always have to go with that because that's never been wrong. I don't know. There's no one who said I didn't feel right about something and listened to it and was wrong. Like it just isn't. Right?
Yes.
So tell me, Sabrina, from sort of that ramp up, what sort of like were some of the highlights of you going deeper and even explain some of the frustration? Because I'm open with people like, oh, I'm trying to learn clairvoyance. But like, I'm there now, right? Like I did the work. I'm there now. It took like 2 years. And I'm around all these people who are like super clairvoyant. So I was a little salty. But so tell me about the highlights of going into this that really sort of struck you as either magical, like we can do this, really just shook you and like really catapulted you higher into faith about how powerful each human soul is if they choose to embark on honing their skills and ability.
So for me, the real switch happened when I learned more about my ancestry. My grandfather was a village medicine man. And so he was the healer and he communicated with spirits and every ancestor before him was. And that was a real validation for me. Like, this is in my DNA. And I think hundreds of years ago, so many of us had medicine people in our ancestry. And then we have lost that, right? And I believe that most people actually were telepathic hundreds of years ago, and that's something we've been trained out of with the school system and with all the pharmaceuticals and how they've made us into kind of robotic people right now. That's why I say like everyone can do this. There's nothing special about anyone. I'm just spending the time tapping in and teaching people how to tap in as well. Did that answer your question?
It does. And you know how you say like everyone was telepathic? Like I love calling myself, I am a magician. That's what my spirit guides told me. Like, how do I manifest so well? And they were like, you're a magician. And I was like, oh, there's a story in the Bible about the 3 magi. And there were 3 men from 3 different lands who all met up on the same journey to meet baby Jesus with frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Listen, guys, they didn't have cell phones or the internet. How'd they know baby Jesus was born? right? You know what I mean? From 3 different lands. And I looked into it. They were like, none of the lands were close by, right? And so I love that story because people who are religious, I'm very spiritual versus religious. I love showing that because there's a reason we know certain Bible stories, and they're telling you this is the world we lived in. Yeah, 3 people from 3 different countries met up before internet and cell phones and knew baby Jesus was there, and they all brought gifts and they met up on the same journey. That synchronicity happens today, let alone we were more clued in, you know, a few thousand years ago. That's what I like that story. Mm-hmm. So hello, Anne-Marie.
The other thing I wanted to mention was the big shift for me was working with the higher self exclusively. And you mentioned everyone should have a mentor. I also have a mentor, and that's what she taught me. Because I was spending a lot of time going like, I can't hear my guides, I can't connect to my guides. But you know, the higher perspective of the guides are us in different forms. If we think of like how we're all connected, right? Yes, exactly. Like Lisa, yeah. So why go through all these different beings, and they all have their own personality, right? Like you can become a guide for anybody when you pass on. You know, it's not like they're super elevated beings necessarily. There's actually books on how to ensure that you have a guide team that's 100% light. And I can refer that after, but that's why I only go to the higher self. And all the answers can come through, because I really believe the higher self is us from the future. So the future you already knows what Lisa needs, and you know what the best path for her is. So let's just tap in directly to that source instead of trying to piece it together from other beings. Mm-hmm. And when we work together, I found that's the most effective thing too, like calling in somebody else's higher self and communicating on that level instead of working with their personality self and trying to read like what's their agenda. No, let's just go to the higher self and ask what's going on.
Yes, so I gotta say that is sort of the game changer. So I've been doing a lot with mostly my guides. So if you go on I'm very physical with my channeling. Like if you take the workshop, I show you like I couldn't see, I could only feel, but even sometimes I couldn't feel. So it was like, hey, show me, you know, a guy riding on a blue bike if it's yes, riding on a red bike if it's no today. And then I'll have the answer. So I was very physical in it to communicate with my guides. But I have to say, and that was for me very effective because I like having my guides. I still have my guides. I got my ancestors, I got dragons, I got some angel guides. But the work I do with you, where we focus on the higher self, that has been next level. So I'll definitely say working with the higher self is next level. And even today, like what you've been teaching me, I've been doing on my own and practicing. And I had like a long conversation with higher self. I was like, yeah, well, what about this? Well, what about this? What about that vaccine? What about, you know, and finally I clearly can hear the complete sentences and what was back. And I have to say there is no better source than the higher self, right? So I have to agree. So that's a game changer. No one else I've met and worked with was doing that. And we're also calling the higher self of other people. So I was telling them yesterday on a live that like I'm manifesting a husband, right? Like I don't mind sharing that with you guys. And so with me and Sabrina, like we're literally calling in the energies of different soulmates I have, and we're asking them questions. Like, are you ready? One of the guys I was dating, we asked him questions, and you know, we found out that he was like waffling, and I was like, okay, that's fine. And then it happened in the physical. I was like, oh, that's cool, right? Like we're getting legit, real answers, and like that's extraordinary. You guys don't think that's extraordinary? Such as me. So that's the realm we're working on. But like it's really extraordinary working with the higher self of my ex-husband, of my daughter, to get clarity over what we need to do for her, to, you know, if there's any healings I can do on her behalf. So the higher self work. And would you say, Sabrina, when you met me, I've already been doing my own practice, right? I was already doing my healings. I was doing my own activations. I have the ability to do things, right? So I started working. We're just taking it to the next level. Would you say it's just as easy and beneficial for people to learn this even before they're maybe at my level, which is like doing the diligence and doing the study? Like for a new person, working with the higher self is still like, are you able to like short circuit and have that clear communication and guidance with your higher self after learning it relatively quickly? Or does it take time? Because the question is like, is it like 4 years of experience that makes it so easy now, right? And I'm sure there's some aspect to it, but I'm wondering if I would have done that 4 years ago, I would have been just as easy to get straight to the source and be able to hear that guidance really clearly.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that people should start there. I think that to be honest, this might be controversial, but I believe one of the New Age deceptions is this obsession with guides, because there's a deception that they're trying to make us not realize our true power by always seeking outside, right? And this is one of the things, like nobody's really talking about higher self. Everyone's like, my guides, and that's another way to pull you away from your own knowing and power. Why do we have to seek so much outside of ourselves all the time? Yes, did that answer your question?
It does, and it's not bad actually. Now that I'm doing it, I love it. Right? I will say, not like against, but like for the guides things for me, and so I can tell my story and testimony on it. It's what I couldn't hear my higher self clearly, but I heard and could work with my guides very clearly before I could. And so what the guides did do, now that I'm working on, hey, Lisa, it's all within you, stop looking outside, right? And we're definitely doing that. It was something that was outside of me that I was like, you have support. You have a team of friends who are always there to protect you. It was something for some of us, it was very visceral. So would I change going back to straight to the higher self? I actually wouldn't. Because in learning my guides, there were some learning lessons I did take on because it was outside of me. And in my mind, I was learning to work with everyone. So now that I'm really focused on, and they keep telling me, y'all, so they're like, no, too many people, Lisa, do it yourself. Ancestor, it was like, too many people. Do it yourself. So like I'm definitely like told like do it yourself. But I will say on the other side, I think Sabrina is correct in saying that can pull you from like your own power. And definitely I can see that. I will just say on the other end, there's something really validating for going through with your guides and learning with your guides and then being told now you're ready to do everything on your own. Like my confidence is very high when the people you've been working on the spiritual plane are like, you now have it. So I just want to say, like, you are correct. Like, I actually do agree with that. But there is something to be said. And I guess I'm a very big mentor coach person. Like, I like the idea of an apprenticeship. So I think of like the spirit guides can be like an apprenticeship before you're off to do your own and like establish your own business or establish your own. So I think you're right. I just want to say the other part can be very validating.
Absolutely. There is a theory that I am playing with and I do agree with, that your spirit guides are actually different aspects of you. So if you think of your higher self, and spirit guides are like little pieces of it. So you might have like a really nice motherly spirit guide. You might have one that's like a really cool girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
And so these are just aspects of you. What if they're all what if it's you giving you guidance to yourself as different aspects?
Yeah, and I always wondered, like, when people stepped forward, I always figured that, like, I never channeled on it. I was just like, oh, we must have met in another life. And they were like, oh, that's Lisa. I'll help out. That's what I just figured, that there's a familiarity. Like it could have been a rando spirit, but I generally feel, and the ones that I got, I generally feel they were the right ones. Like, and I've known them in another life, and they were like, sure, I'll help you. Like, I know you. That was just my feeling. Everyone's different. So yeah, like it's not necessarily aspect of higher self, but like, I mean, we're all one at the end of the day. Me and you are one, right? When we get out of this earth body and we're getting up there, we get higher in dimension. Right? We're just one big old plasma, right? But yeah, I did feel like not necessarily what you said, but just like a slight tweak that like there was something there. But they can be randos, okay? They can be randos.
No, I don't think they're randos at all. We do come in with a team. Yeah, we definitely do come in with a team of
you're closer
guides. Yes,
like your guardian angels.
Yeah. As you grow, like you don't have the same guides you did when you were 7 years old, right? As you evolve, new teachers come in. Yeah.
And I've introduced new guides too, you know, like I do my channeling. I try to make sure that they are, you know, highest integrity, highest compassion, because like the integrity matters. So they're not doing things for their purposes using you, but they truly can be there for your purpose. But yeah, I like Sabrina, I think you're right. I'm offering like a slight alternative, but I think everything you're saying is very accurate. And maybe that is a new thing we need to start taking. So maybe I'll start saying, hey, I love my spirit guide. But let's start looking towards when you can get the answers yourself, when you can manifest yourself, when you can, because that's where I'm at now, right? That is the ultimate goal.
Yeah. I love what Karen just wrote. We are all facets of the big jewel. Yeah. I like to think of guides as helpers they're like gently nudging us, creating synchronicities, making our path easier, dropping me in your path, for example. That was a nudge, right? So they are here helping us. But when I'm talking about asking for guidance and asking for answers, that's when I'm asking to tune into the higher self.
And so let's talk about this, because I know we have a hard stop, and I just want to, for this one, actually, I'm going to bring her on again, and we might do a channeling session, and you guys will love it. I wanted to ask you, because I think if you're taking spiritual advice from anyone, be it me, be it someone out there, they better be happy. Because if they look a mess, if they are a mess, they haven't figured this out. They haven't figured out their own power. All right. And so if they're advising you, but their energy isn't high, their demeanor isn't the best, you should be able to listen to anybody who's talking spiritual matters for hours, because you generally love their energy, because you cannot fake a high vibration. You can try, but you can't do it. Right. So Sabrina, are you happy? Like, what has going into this done for you? I'll just say for me, everything I want, I get eventually. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it takes time, but do I know it's going to happen? Yes. If something tries to scare me, I know I got support. I don't have to worry about what men say or do, especially around this COVID stuff. If I want something, I ask a higher source and I'm going to get it. So I don't care what they try to block or ban. If I want to go in a store without a mask, I can. Or whatever it might be. That's what it's given me. Control over my life and the power to control my whole life, regardless of what man tries to do. I don't care if you're a cop. I have more guides and support on my side that I can call in at any second than you will ever have. Okay. I don't so that fear doesn't get to me. What has it done for you? And tell me about your happiness. And I am happy. If y'all can't tell, life's, hey, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I manifest a lot though. I'm always manifesting the next thing. I did 4 manifestations today, if that tells you anything, guys. So tell me what it's done for you. Hi, Jules.
For me, working with you has been really validating. You're the first person who has this all kind of just happened for me. I was in my, yeah.
I don't think so, but I mean, at the time we were just hey, she did my reading. I was like, you're good. Do you do this for a living yet? She's like, no, not yet. I was like, what? Let me get her before she raises her price.
Speaking of that, my website, there was a bit of a typo in the comment. It's not there's no E, it's theintegrationpath.com.
Oh, okay. Let me write that again.
I did want to touch on one thing you mentioned, Lisa, about mentors. I think it's good that you disagree sometimes. You should, because we don't want to follow anyone blindly. Even people that are my mentors, I don't agree with everything they say. And that's how it should be. We should always be questioning everything, because my reality is my reality. And I can share my reality with you, but your reality is your reality, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Never follow anybody 100%. And if something doesn't feel right for you, it's not right for you. Take what resonates and discard the rest all the time.
Yeah, because someone could be 80% accurate, but 20%, I don't know about that, coach. Yeah. Right? That doesn't mean anyone's a failure. There is no failure. It's maybe that one thing maybe wasn't channeled as clearly for you, because maybe you were metamorphosing in that one thing, but the other thing she was able to get a very clear pickup and read very accurately, right?
Yeah. So one of the things we're working on is becoming a clear channel, because the personality self will always be filtered through the personality self. So it's all these mesh filters that the message is coming through. And so when it goes through that filtration process, that's when the errors happen. It's the bicycle you mentioned. I could say, oh, I think that means you're going to be going on a trip. I see you riding a bike somewhere. Or it could mean you're getting a bike, right? That's how I interpret it and how I send it to you. Yeah. So another really good thing I've learned along the way is never analyze from your personality self any insights or messages you get. Just say what you see, because a bike might mean something totally different to Lisa than it does to me. So I just say a bike, and Lisa will say, oh yeah, that makes sense, because I was going to buy a bike for my daughter, for example.
Right, but it was going to cause some contention and da-da-da-da. I didn't know, but you're telling me go ahead. All right, I'm going to do it, right? And it's exactly. Something as easy as that. So I really believe in spirit. So someone asked me, because I've done a lot of emotional healing and spiritual healing and maturity, and someone asked me, did you go to counseling? And I'm like, no, I just work with people who are a bit ascended, and I can ask these higher questions to my guides or my higher self, and get clarity. This is what you're going through, Lisa, but they know my path and my purpose, so they can give me a better response. And, they've been through all this. Their higher self, they already went through this, right? And so, I literally have been saying for 4 years, everyone needs like a tarot reader, an intuitive, a psychic, a clairvoyant in their life that they should be talking to once a month or at least once every 3 months. Do you agree? I've done that. And that's why I'm at an accelerated place than most people, because I made that a priority, because I want to hone my skills. I want to be the most powerful person in as I can get in the world. I don't care about competition, just for me, so I can live the life I want. I came here to live a certain life. I'm going to get it. But I think everyone should have an intuitive on their budgeted friend sessions. What do you think? And I've been saying this is your therapy. If you want, go to therapy if you need it. I didn't need it because I got every time I was in turmoil, I can ask, should I stay with my husband? What about this? He's doing this. And then I got those answers. You can't control him. You can only control you, So what do you want to do? You have the power to create. These are the same things counselors say, right? But this has come from the spiritual lessons that we're here to learn. So what would you say about that, Sabrina?
Totally agree. Even the best intuitives see other intuitives. And the reason is because that's the personality self I mentioned. So it's like a tarot reading, keep pulling the cards until you get the card you want, right?
I've done that.
Yes, exactly. So you won't believe you're always biased of your own life. You'll always want to see something. So you want somebody else who doesn't care, in the sense of they're neutral, and they will give you a clear message. Don't worry about the time. I'm a bit flexible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask you, what is
Can I just say one more thing about that?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So the value for me of seeing psychics has been, they have shifted my life in huge ways. One example is I was in a marriage and it wasn't going well. And a psychic I saw just was very blunt. And she's like, this is a codependent relationship. This is not good for you. You need to get out. And I probably would have gotten out, but it would have taken me years to get out. Yeah. So somebody neutral seeing the truth and telling me the truth was enough for me to take action right away. And so it was a really good way to shift my life forward really fast. Another example is, now I forgot the example. You go ahead and I'll try to remember the second example.
No, I gotta say same. Yeah. So I think it was the fourth time I was complaining about who's now my ex-husband. And they were like, well, I got something to tell you. This it's ran its course. You've had a season. You've learned, you've grown, but at where you're at now, you're not in the same places anymore because of that growth.
Yes, awesome.
And it was just obvious, and he's super stubborn. So it's not like he was going to all of a sudden get into this. When we met, I didn't care. He was agnostic, but then I found out the truth. Yeah. And I'm like, no, all of this is real, right? How can you stay in the same space like that? So nothing, not evil. He's just one of these people who just listens to the Matrix and hasn't awakened. I wasn't awakened when I met him. But yeah, your tarot reader can point that out, and you can go inside and see if it's accurate or not. But if you are listening, a lot of us, like my ex-mentor, she had the same experience. She was with her long-term person and was told it's not. And you fight it a little bit. I was like, what? I got a little teary-eyed. But you think about it and you're like, we're not going to get on the same page. And it helps you get to those realizations about you're not here to force someone to go on a journey with you.
Yes, exactly. They tell you the most probable path, and there's many paths. Another benefit I've had is last year, I was really unhappy in my apartment. And I asked, when am I going to move? And she said, it's going to be another year. And I was like, nope, I cannot stay here another year. And the next day, I immediately wrote the list of things I wanted in an apartment. Sorry about that. Wanted in an apartment. And 2 days later, I found my new apartment. But unless the reader had said, you're going to wait another year and then you're going to find it, I changed my path, basically, is what I'm trying to say. On my most probable path was staying there. And I chose not to because of the message. And I immediately shifted in 2 days and got a new apartment. So,
right. And sometimes I think low key our higher selves be giving those messages because they know something inside you'll be absolutely unacceptable.
Yes.
And then it will force you to go, oh hell. Excuse me, I'm not staying here for another year. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. And I'm very used to saying that because in life, if you're different, you have to get very comfortable saying, I don't care what all of y'all say. I'm doing me. So I'm just really comfortable. But sometimes low key, I'm like, y'all did that on purpose. Because Because you knew I was not going to sit on this one. I wasn't going to sit and just let this happen to me. I was going to take control and demand it and manifest it, right?
You created your reality.
Yeah. And sometimes they know if push comes to shove with some of us that we'll do it. So can I ask you, what's your sign? I'm a Pisces. I'm a February Pisces.
I'm a Virgo with a Scorpio moon.
Oh, there it is. Because it's the like the other sign I know that's deeply that I don't really have to even say anything to are Scorpios. So like I don't have to say it. Like you get it. They're like, girl, it's understood. I was like, okay, I don't have to keep explaining this. It's just something inside them that hears me. You know what I mean? Cool. So
one more thing I want to say that you brought up about tarot readers. Tarot readers can be really wonderful, but if you find one, just make sure that they're also working from an intuitive space, not just, you know, they like studied the book and go like, oh, 4 cups means that this will happen. Because tarot is often the tool taught when you start learning these things, and eventually people should graduate from it, right? And start getting messages themselves, not relying on tools like pendulums and tarot cards.
I have to agree with you. Y'all want to hear me say this. I'm funny. I don't just mess with anybody and their tarot. But here's the deal. I mentioned this about 30 minutes ago. I always check people out first. So, you know, someone goes live on YouTube. They're like, let me do a reading. I'm like, boom. I just tell them the problem. I don't tell them any details about it. So, you know, same with your tarot readers. Don't tell them everything. You want to, if they're able to pick up, they'll pick the right cards. And not only will they pick the right cards, they'll have information about it that comes because they're reading. They're not even necessarily reading or hearing something. They could just read through energetically what's going on and give it to you. So I'm more than happy. The Facebook user, not just interpret the cards because there is an energy, right? So when I do cards, I'm like, there's some of us read without knowing we're reading. It's just so natural and a subtle part of us. You know who we are.
Yeah.
So
you look at the cards and you get the message.
What's that?
I was saying you look at the spread and you kind of get a message about what it means. You're not like flipping all the books and verbatim writing it out, right? Like, yeah, that's how you should be using the cards for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and start with yourself. It does work. I have flipped that card over and over again, and I had got the right answer the first time. I just didn't want to see it. It's like, no. But yeah, we're going to bring this to an end. I'm just super excited to introduce you guys to Sabrina. So Sabrina, tell us some of the stuff that we've worked on that you're just like, wow, that was pretty cool. Because I know when Sabrina started bringing in the higher self, not just me, but all the people around, and we're doing real healings. We're talking to them. We're asking what needs to be done for the situation. I did it with an ex-husband or my daughter, but it could have been a boss. It could have been a friend. It could have been all of that. And these are real insights we're getting from the people's higher self, right? And that to me has been so game changing. And, it's like you're just at a higher level. Like when I need something, I go up here to sort of create it in the spiritual so it manifests in the physical. So that sort of was like, wow. And then because she's communicating with my higher self and where I'm at because of my own practice, we're getting deeper and deeper into knowledge that no one else is doing or know about. So that's been really fun with Sabrina. And I meet with her twice a week because I'm like, no, we get these skills. We get these skills, girl. I want to get to the point where I don't feel I need anyone.
Yeah,
right?
That's my goal too.
And Sabrina is helping me with that. That is my goal. So if it's twice a week, it's twice a week, but we all get this. So at the drop of a dime, if I need something, I get it. It's clear as day. I can help myself and I can help others. Like that. And that's work on my part. That is practice, but that is where I'm trying to go.
Yeah, I remember last time we talked, you didn't like the answer that I was giving you about a relationship. And so I'm like, you look yourself. And I told you how to look, how to bring the situation into your mind. And you got the same answer, right? And that's always best. Instead of asking somebody else and trusting them, let somebody show you how to get your own guidance. I want everyone to be telepathic and intuitive. That's my dream.
That's your goal. I was going to ask you, what's your goal? You picked up on that. Like, what's the end goal?
Yeah.
Everybody's able to tune in and think of the happiness in the release of stress, right? Mm-hmm. Think of the release of angst when you're like, let me just go and check inside and see what I need to do.
Yeah.
This has all been done before.
Yeah, it's a world where there's no ability for people to lie or deceive you because we can all sense the truth, right?
Right.
And how wonderful would that be?
And so, last question before we let you before you go, how has we're on the ascension process?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this heavily because there's a lot of things we have to navigate. How has that been for you in your own path and journey? Navigating this interesting world, but with definitely when we talk, we try to go from an empowerment viewpoint. What can we do? What can be done? How do we protect? Right? Not in a very fearful way, but like, no, we're gonna get this.
Mm-hmm.
But how has this been for you? Are you excited for New Earth? I'm excited for New Earth.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I kind of feel like it's happening. Like I see glimpses of it very often. There's little times where like there's a bliss state, and there's people coming together that I see in groups, and they're in this ecstatic, like beautiful space. I think it's like a dimensional frequency that we're popping in and out of.
Yes.
People talk about 5D. I want to get to 5D. Like it's not a place that you leave your home and go to. It's a state of being, of like bliss, and everything's easy, and like that state of everyone's communicating and nobody even to worry about deception because we're all just have our needs met, right? If we're all living in abundance, there's no need for me to steal from you because I have what I need. And that would be wonderful.
To attract it. Mm-hmm.
That's something we work on, is wishing the best for people. So we want to cut a cord. Let's plug them into source so they're not plugged into you, right? They're getting energy from source. And how do we look at their future where they have all their needs met and they're happy, so they're not coming at you trying to get, anything from you. So wishing the best for people and creating the best reality for them is like the white magic that I want to work with.
Yes. And we're already living that. Like I said, feel the energy of the people who are giving advice. We have problems. Like my air conditioning was broke and her plumbing was broke like last week. So nothing's perfect. No air conditioning for a week. It was not cute, right? So it's not that like nothing happens, right? It's just that no one can take you from your center because if it gets too bad, you have developed the skill sets to go right back inside and go, okay, this is what I want. This is what I need. Let me sit down and make this happen. Mm-hmm. So I have the skill set. I know what to do when I want to manifest what I want, right? So it's not that everything's perfect on this 3D planet that we live on, but we live in the 5D because our mindset is like, I don't get too stressed and worried before coming right back to like, I know I can change my situation. Right. And so it's not. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I would explain it. So I'll let you go. You do have a hard stop, but thank you so much. You guys, I'm so excited to introduce her because she's so good. So if you want to find her, she's the Integration Path. She is an intuitive. Goodness, I can't even. You guys have no clue. Or maybe you do if you've been listening to me, but I'm just so happy because I finally found the person who could take me from. I was already at what I consider an advanced practitioner of spiritual, like my own spiritual gifts and practice, but like it's so next level, getting that clarity. And then like your ancestors saying, don't do this anymore. You can do this. And your higher self saying, you don't have to do all this. This is what we do. So this is how you connect to your God source. This is how we do that. You don't need to go outside anymore. This is how you communicate what you want without asking your guides or higher self. And I'm learning, I'm like, okay, so I get skill after skill after skill. And if you know me, I just love collecting skills that make me more empowered. So that is why Sabrina has been a pleasure. Her own practice and due diligence over the last 10 years, I guess you'd say.
Yes.
Her own diligence and her own practice. Like I met her. I started 4 years ago. She started 10, but guess where we met? At the International Clairvoyant School practice session, right? So I respect the fact that you've kept your spiritual practice up and you're going deeper and deeper every day to see like how far can we go? Like, and that's my goal. Like, how much can I manifest? Right? Like, like I want to see if it's possible to turn water into wine. I don't know how. I'm just saying. When I get to that level, I've made it, right? And so will it take 20 years or 30, 100? Like, will I ever get there? No, it's not. I don't know. But like, that's where I'm going. And so it's so nice that Sabrina has also did that diligence, also done that work. And so I'm not meeting a lightweight. I met someone who has put in the time and effort to be good enough at her craft that she feels comfortable helping other people become good at their craft, right? So, if you guys, I would love for you guys to meet her. And if you do have a session, let me know because just so I can be like, she's good, right?
Thank you, Lisa. I also wanted to mention something else I do on my journey is I do past life regression, QHHT.
Oh.
Yeah, that's on my website. Yeah, we've never talked about that, but that's
I've done that once, guys. It's really good to get in touch with your higher self, so you channel directly your higher self and see how past lives have affected you and what you're carrying over. I would recommend it, guys. I really would. Like, spend the money. Like, I know people are a little funny, but like in this, when you get these spiritual gifts, like true happiness and bliss does come in a way that other people just can't fathom because they're just trying to do it on their own. But when you learn how to tap into source, in your own source, it's a different world we live in, right? I'm trying to get as many people who want to listen to my words to this world as possible. And so does Sabrina. So that is what I say from the heart. So thank you, Sabrina, for coming. Appreciate it. You are the best.
Thank you.
And if you guys ever need this, I'm going to put in the notes information to Sabrina. And if you guys don't use her, I have her all to myself, and I'm happy with that. Not that for Sabrina, but like she's really flexible now. I've worked with so many people, and I don't know. Like, I love the fact that I get this time for right now. So let me learn as much as I can while I can. All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Found the website, and thanks again. All right. Bye.
Bye.